morning. Thank you for coming and joining us today. It's quite a wonderful, warm Sunday morning here in Buckeye, Arizona. So I guess small blessings, right? Being home in air conditioning, here, the air conditioning here at church. We didn't know we were going to have air conditioning here this morning. We had a rough time with AC this morning. So thanks for coming. Let's start out this morning with a word of prayer. Oh, gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for your blessings. Thank you so much for your love and your goodness to us, and they are never failing, Lord. Lord, we lift up this time to you so that you would be honored and glorified, Father, in our song and in our praise and our worship and in our service, Lord. Pray that you would anoint Michael as he gets ready to bring forth your word. And let us just open up our ears and our hearts to hear it, Lord. And just let us glorify you through everything that happens during this service. Lord, we love you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Yeah, God is the Lord of all. And this Christ, this death on the cross, that is the reason that we do church at all. It's the reason that we celebrate Jesus. It's the reason that we serve our God is Christ alone. Well, at this time, we're going to go ahead and we're going to spend some time in prayer. The church is going through a lot. Brother Robert Clemens, I don't know if you guys remember him. He only came a few weeks before we had to go online, but it's an older man. He sat here in the front row, had some hearing aids. If you can remember him, you probably do because he stands out a little bit. But he came in today and he asked us if we would pray for him. Sister Lena Tilly is going through a lot of medical issues. She's had doctor's visits and tests and everything. So I just asked Lord, I asked that you guys just pray for her. There were some issues that Carrie mentioned with the air conditioner that we had today. I'm gonna see if we can get someone to come out this week, but pray that goes well. That can really get pricey. And just find somebody my kids, if you can find a brother or sister and pray with them. If you guys are with somebody, find them, ask them if you can pray with them. But let's just spend some time in prayer as Terry sings this next song. All right. So it's been an interesting day, but God is good. God is really, really good. So, some of you guys I haven't heard from in a while. You'll probably be expecting a call from me and Carrie this week. So, but today I wanted to talk about what ifs. What ifs? What if we traded our if-only regrets for God's what-if possibilities? What if when we had that idea that we just know would change our world, we actually went after it? If we not only dreamed big, what would happen? What if we not only dreamed big, but we acted big? What if we put our action behind our dreams? Do you know it doesn't take much, just a little bit of passion and a big God, and dreams can come true. It's been said that at the end of your life, your greatest regret won't be the things you did but wish you hadn't. But your greatest regret will be the things you didn't do but wish you had. It's that what if dreams that we never act upon that turn into our deepest regrets. I'm sure we all feel like we have missed opportunities. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about not missing opportunities, about going after what God places in your heart, about following your dreams, if you will. And this moment we are in right now, it kind of feels like a place where we can hit the reset button, where we can start over, change our habits. So you see, we've been locked down for 6 weeks, 7 weeks now, and I just feel like that as we come out of this, that it's an opportunity to kind of start over, to change what we were doing before, and to really start mending new habits. Because right now, our only habits are, for a lot of us, we're just staying home and sleeping in. A lot of us aren't working. So as we go back to work in 2 weeks, as we start, and life starts to get normal again, I just feel like it's a time where we can really start reset things, if you will. There are many of these places in the Bible. Moses, 40 years in the desert with his wife and father-in-law. At the end, he comes out a stronger and wiser leader. Jesus' 40 days of fasting in the wilderness. He comes out and begins his ministry. The disciples spend 10 days in the upper room. They come out bold and full of the Holy Spirit. Many of these opportunities for a reset or a new beginning are in the Bible, and we have one now. Many of these opportunities end greatly, and ours can end greatly too. We have an opportunity in a few weeks to come out of the quarantine better people. Better husbands, better wives, better mothers, better fathers, better Christians, better leaders, better employees, better people. We have to do what we have to do to make our what ifs a reality. We have to begin chasing things that God puts in our heart. And that's what happens over and over again when these resets that I'm talking about happen in the Bible. They come out making what ifs a reality. And here's another one for you. This is one of my favorite ones, and we're really going to stick on it. It's a really big reset that reset point that the Israelites faced. It's going to be in Numbers 13, if you will. Turn with me. Numbers 13. Moses sends out 12 spies. 12 spies to the promised land for 40 days. So Moses sends them out and he says, you're going to go in, you're going to see, and you're going to come back and tell me if we can take them. So he sends them in, and in Numbers 13, 26 to 31 is what we're going to be reading right now. But if we'll start in 26, this is what happens when they come back. When they come back, Dad. And they came to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the people of Israel in the wilderness of Paran and Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him, we came to the land to which you sent us. It flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. So Moses sends them, and they have a perfect reset point, if you will, because they've just spent years in captivity to the Egyptians. And they're coming out, and they should be on fire and running toward the land that God promised them. But they slow down. Wait, we're going to go for 40 days, and we're going to go look and spy on them. And they come out. And I love it because it says, yes, it's full of milk and honey, and it looks great. And they have all this fruit, and we took it from them. Here it is. Like, here's all that fruit. So we're going to stop there for a second. They went in and saw all this amazing stuff. They even took some. They brought it back to show it off. You could think that would show them something. You would think, but not to 10 of the spies. It meant nothing to them. I was told recently that I like the big butts in the Bible. Here's one I don't like. So they come out and they're like, yeah, it's full of all this milk and honey, and all these fruits that we took, here it is, you can eat it. And then verse 28 says, however is just another word for but. It says however, but it can easily be replaced with but. So they're like, it's full of fruit, it's full of milk and honey, here's its fruit, but the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the cities are fortified and very large. And besides, we saw the descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the Negeb, the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Amorites dwell in the hill country, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the Jordan. So we went in. We brought a bunch of this fruit back. We stayed there for 40 days. But they're bigger than us. And there are so many of them. There's so many of them, we can't beat them. There's no way. They weren't thinking about the buts that God already gave them, that God had already been through with Moses. All those buts, they had their own butt. But we can't do it. These people are too big. But then there's a but that I like here. And it's in verse 30. Verse 30, it says, but Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, we'll stop there. So Caleb basically said, hey guys, shut up with all this negativity. Stop all the negativity, he says. Just stop. We serve a bigger God. We'll read on. It says, let's go up at once and occupy it, for we are well able to overcome it. So it says, but Caleb quieted the crowd in front of Moses, and he told them, let's go fight. Let's go do this. We have a God on our side. And verse 31 says, then the men who had gone up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we are. So even with a great leader like Joshua who's like, stop already. Let's go face these people. Let's go fight this battle. Let's go win this battle. They had a great leader, but they still were scared. You know that it doesn't matter how great your leader is, how great your president is, how great. If your army isn't willing to fight. It doesn't matter. Judas had Jesus as a leader, and look what he did. It doesn't matter. It has to be in your heart. You have to be ready for it. And this army was not ready for a reset. They go on and they talk about how the people inhabiting their land were so big that they felt like grasshoppers. They just talked about how little they were in the eyes of this army that they were going to fight. And when they had this perfect opportunity coming out of Egypt to reset, they faced fear instead. So, corresponding to the 40 days that the spies toured the land, God decreed that the Israelites would wander in the wilderness for 40 years as a result of their unwillingness to take the land. You see, God gives us visions and God gives us dreams, and we're scared sometimes. And we are like, no, not doing it. And God's like, fine, you don't have to do it, but you're not going to get where I wanted you for 40 years now. You're not going to get where I wanted you till longer down the road. When you could have been there at 20, now you're going to be there at 60. So many of us wonder why life is so hard, and it's because we don't follow our dreams. Instead, we face fear. We don't follow what God is giving us. Instead, we face fear. So, they faced fear, and God gave them 40 years in the wilderness. Then after a bunch of people griping about how it would have been better to stay in Egypt, chapter 14 says in verse 30, it says, not one shall come into the land where I swore that I would make you dwell, except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun. You see, he didn't just stop at 40 years in the desert, but he now told them that only the two spies that came back with a positive result are going to make it into the promised land. Your fear will stop you from ever reaching your dreams. See, where you read before and you thought, oh, they're just going to wait 40 years. It's going to be okay. But then you read chapter 14, verse 30, and you realize that they didn't get to go at all. They didn't reach their dreams at all. You see, after leaving Egypt, they had a perfect opportunity for a reset, a new life full of God's promises. But they didn't grasp it. And the whole generation had to die before they got another chance for a reset. Can you imagine how different it would have been if they just listened in the first place? If when Joshua told them, let's go in, let's battle, if they would have actually went in and fought. You know that they were God's people, and they would have won then. So what would the Bible look like without that 40 years in the wilderness? Everything would change. And God's given you dreams, God's given you things that would change everything. But your fear is stopping you. And I'm telling you that we need to take this opportunity, this reset for us, to become bolder, stronger Christians who are willing to say, I'm not going to give in to fear, but I'm going to change the world. If they had looked at all their past what ifs and said, this isn't going to be a what if of regrets. It's going to be a what if of possibilities. Can you imagine that? I can. Because in Joshua 2 it happens. In Joshua 2, Joshua sends out 2 spies. And they both came back with good reports. They both came back saying, what if we take them? What if we win and all this land is ours? What if God has told us, what if what God has told us is true? What if we actually believed in the God that we tell people we believe in? What if? The exact words they told Joshua are found in Joshua 2, verse 24. It says, and they said to Joshua, truly the Lord has given all the land into our hands, and also all the inhabitants of the land melt away because of us. See what 40 years in the desert will do to you? It changed from we can't do it, all these people are there, to surely it's ours. What happened is they got some time with God. They got some time to spend alone. And you know what? We've had that too. We must have this kind of faith in God. The kind of faith that the spies Joshua sent out had. And not the kind of faith that the spies Moses sent out had. We must be able to walk in strong faith. We must take our reset opportunity. Like the second set of spies and not like the first. We must be strong and courageous. When God gives us something, we need to take it. Whether it's an opportunity or an idea, if God gives it to you, you need to chase it. You need to want it. You need to desire it. You see, what if we acted like the Christians that we say we are? What if we did this? What if when we come to church on, we come to church on Sundays, not now, but before, we'd come to church on Sunday and we talk about how great God is and how wonderful God is and how God's going to get us through and all this faith that we talk about. And then Monday, God tells you, hey, Mike, take this job, go apply and quit where you're at. And you're like, no. What happened to all that faith you had on Sunday? It's not there, huh? What if we actually had the faith that we say we had? What if we really believed God when He told us to do something? What if, like Joshua's spies, we weren't scared? We must stop living life as if we are doing this on our own. When God gives us fruit, we must be fruitful. Do you know that after Moses died and Joshua took over, God told Joshua something 3 times. It's so interesting because the spies that Moses had were so scared and they feared everything. And then Joshua sends out spies. Then Joshua sent out spies. And Joshua's spies are bold and courageous. But somewhere in between there is Joshua 1:6, and God tells him, be strong and courageous, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land that I swore to their fathers to give them. So that's 1:6. He says, be strong and courageous. Joshua 1:7, he says this. He says, only be strong and very courageous, being careful to do according to all the law that Moses, my servant, commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, but that you may have good success wherever you go. So what we need to do is when God tells us to do something, we need to do it and go straight. No turning to the left, no turning to the right, but we have to be strong and very courageous is what 7 tells us. So there's 1:6, be strong and courageous. 1:7, be strong and very courageous. And then 1:9, he says, I have not commanded you. Or have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So that's the 3rd time. He tells them, be strong and courageous. So be strong and courageous. Be strong and very courageous. Have I not told you to be strong and courageous? You see the difference between Moses and Joshua was simple. Joshua did it. Joshua was strong and courageous. And we must be strong and courageous Christians. We need to go after our dreams, after our promises that God has given us. We need to grasp them. We need to win the war and believe that God is going to get us through the war. God has told you to do some things in life and in your ministry that you have avoided because you were scared. It's time to stop being like the people under Moses and start looking and start being like the people under Joshua. It's time to come out of our quarantine or time in the desert, if you will, or a time in the wilderness, if you will, and hit the reset button. Time to say, I am going to be strong and courageous. If we have the faith that we say we have, then we shouldn't be living in the fear that we are living in. It looks like May 15th we'll be able to come out of this quarantine. I want you guys to begin praying about those things you avoided before and how you're going to attack them. Those things that God's told you over and over and over for many, many years, and you're hiding behind a rock and acting like there's no way it's going to happen. Oh no, that's not my calling. No, that's not me. But you know deep in your heart that God's been telling you for years to step up and do children's ministry, step up and help the worship team, step up and do some outreach. You know God's telling you that. Start praying now so that in 2 weeks when we come out that you're just able to really attack and really believe and really be strong and courageous. I believe it's the 40 years in the wilderness with no distractions that changed from Moses to Joshua. It was that 40 years without no distractions. They were just in a wilderness, all alone. They had nothing to depend on but God and manna. That's the difference. So spend these 2 weeks. If you haven't taken advantage of this quarantine already and grow stronger in the Lord and read your Bible more and prayed more, this is the time to do it. We have to start digging deep into our relationship with Christ. Start praying that God will give you faith and you'll be able to step up to things you've never been able to step up to. Start praying now, because that's what's going to cause it to happen. I want you to start thinking about things about things you let fear keep you from. Start asking, what if I did that? Then when normal comes back, let's attack. Let's not leave the promised land for the next generation. Let's get it now. My dad talked a few weeks ago about Aaron and Hur holding up Moses' arms. Now, I spoke a little bit afterwards, and I told you guys what I got from that, but I'm going to share it with you again. I can't do it on my own. I need people to help. I need people to hold my arms up. I need some Aarons and some Hurs. Some people who are bold enough to say, I'll help. Let's get this church back to a place where it belongs. Let's start changing the community. Let's grow this place. Let's do it. Carrie and I are working hard. She's a full-time student. I have my full-time job. We have 5 kids. And we're trying to grow this church. We need help. We need people who are strong and bold and courageous, who will help. So I just pray that, I pray and I ask you to pray, that you start thinking about where you can help, about how you can help this church, how you can help your community, how you can help Buckeye, if you will. But we've got to start praying about it now. I need some strong and courageous Christians. God needs some strong and courageous Christians. I don't want to make it all about ministry, though. God wants you strong and courageous in every aspect of your life. Start chasing your dreams. Start making them a reality. Knowing what we know now, it seems like a no-brainer. Oh, I'm sorry, I got lost in my notes right now. So, start chasing your dreams. Start making them a reality. If you have a dream of another career, then start working on that. If you have a dream of graduating college, start taking more classes. Start doing things. Make it happen faster. God's given you that dream. It's not something, believe it or not, it's not just in your head. God, is more than likely, if you're a Christian and a believer and you've been praying, that's a dream from God. And you need to get it. So this is our opportunity to hit reset and start all over. Let's do it. On August 15th in 1987, something happened that I'm going to share with you guys. Not to me, but to a man named Howard Schultz. You might know the name Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz was faced with the toughest decision of his life. whether or not to buy a small chain of coffee houses with a strange name. That name is Starbucks. Nobody had ever heard of them before, but people up in Seattle. And Charles Schulz thought, I might buy them. Knowing what we know now, it seems like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't he buy them? Look what he's done with them. But to Schulz, the $3.8 million price tag felt like a case of the salmon swallowing the whale. In his memoir, he said in his memoir, pour your heart into it. The architect behind the Starbucks brand reflects on his what if moment. So he said to us, just pour your heart in it. And then he reflects on his what if moment. And he talks about if you have a moment, you need to pour your heart into it. You need to give it your all. And then he says this. He says, in my moment was when he was thinking about buying. I was thinking about buying this Starbucks company, and I was only making $70,000 a year, and it was $3.8 million. That's a big amount of money for someone making $70,000 a year. And he said this. He said, this is my moment. I thought if I don't seize the opportunity, if I don't step out of my comfort zone and risk it all, if I let too much time tick on, my moment will pass. I knew that if I didn't take advantage of this opportunity, I would replay it in my mind for my whole life, wondering, what if? Howard Schulz has made a defining decision to give up the safety net of his $75,000 salary to pursue his passion of all things coffee. $75,000 a year. And so he went out and got $3.8 million and bought this little tiny Starbucks company at that time. Starbucks stock went public 5 years later. That was in 1992. And June 26, 1992 to be exact. It was the second most active traded stock on the NASDAQ that day. And by the closing of the bell, its market capitalization stood at $273 million. Not bad for a $3.8 million investment. So, he said, before he bought it, he said, I have to seize this opportunity. I can't look back years later and say, what if? And he did, and his $3.8 million in 5 years became $273 million. That's 5 years, so that was in 1992. Can you imagine what it's worth now? I guarantee it's more than $273 million. It seems like there's a Starbucks on every corner. Starbucks now has 16,580 stores. 16,580 stores in 40 countries, with revenues topping $4.7 billion. And their 137,000 employees total twice the population of Greenland. By conservative estimates, Starbucks sold. I'm going to try to read this. I can't read that number. My math isn't good. But let me give it to you. It says 3861-778-846. That's a lot of numbers. That's a lot of numbers. Cups of coffee last year. That's how many cups of coffee they sold. And they're like $7 each. So you need to take 3861-778-446 and multiply that times $6 or $7 that they charge for their coffee. And that's the money he made last year. Not to mention the other 8,700 possible drink combinations that they have at Starbucks. And every sip of every drink started with Charles Schulz's what if. His what if. So what is your what if? Start praying about it now. When we come out, let's start chasing them. Let's start attacking them. I have a dream. I want this church to own some kind of cafe or coffee house here in Buckeye that we run for free. Our church members will work for free, and we will staff the coffee house or the little cafe, and people will come in and they get to know us, and it will open our circle of influence. And once you open your circle of influence, then you have more people come into your life. You can influence more people, and more people will come to church. More people will come to Christ. It's one of mine. We're not there yet, but we're going to be. And when I took this church, it was my what if. What if I take it and we grow? What if I take it and we get that cafe or that coffee house? What if I take it and we do this? It's going to happen. I'm not going to be an all-talk kind of guy, but we're going to live in action. Jeremiah 46:17 talks about a Pharaoh. It says, call the name of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, noisy, a noisy one who lets the hour go by. So call Pharaoh of Egypt, the noisy one who lets the hour go by. It doesn't tell you his story. It doesn't tell you what he did, what opportunity he let go by. But it tells you that he was being noisy. I get nosy and noisy mixed up, and it's really, really hard. Noisy. He was being noisy, so he was talking a lot, and he let an opportunity pass him. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not just going to talk about my faith, but I'm going to walk my faith. Let me ask you this. Have you ever let an hour go by? If you have, it's okay. Because with God, it's never too late. You may have missed an opportunity, but God will give you another one. All it takes is another obedient heart. Someone to say, I'm not just going to be noisy. I'm going to work too. I'm going to talk and walk. I'm not going to talk until it's too late. I'm going to do it. When I'm done, I'll have plenty of time to talk about it. You will. You will have plenty of time to talk about it if you follow and you chase your dreams that God has given you. So don't talk about it now. Don't talk about what God is going to do. But let's get through it. Let's do it. And then talk about what God has done. Proverbs says it like this. Proverbs 14:23 says, in all the toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty. The Message says it like this. Hard work always pays off. Mere talk puts no bread on the table. Let's not be like the Pharaoh in Jeremiah. Let's not be talkers. Let's be walkers. And we haven't been walkers before. Let's take this opportunity, this reset opportunity, if you will, this Jesus in the desert, our wilderness opportunity, this Moses in the desert opportunity, the Egyptians, the Israelites in the desert opportunity, the Israelites in Egypt opportunity, the Moses in the desert opportunity. Let's take that opportunity and let's do like they did more often than not. And let's reset. And let's start walking like we didn't walk before. Let's start talking like we didn't talk before. Let's get people with us and let's do things. Let's get it done. Let's win the war. Because there is a war going on in Buckeye. I had a conversation with a friend this week. And we talked about Buckeye's the fastest growing city in the world now, right? Fastest growing city in the world now. Definitely by far the fastest growing in Arizona. But when we're talking about Maricopa, they have a mega church now. We're talking about Surprise, they have a mega church now. And Buckeye, we don't have any. I don't think we have a church that has more than 500 people. Maybe I could probably go lower than that. But these other cities that are smaller than us and growing less than us, They've got mega churches of 5,000. For some reason, the devil has not allowed that to happen in Buckeye. There's a war. And we need to grab our weapons and start fighting. We need to be like Joshua's spies and say, we're going to do this for God. You see, it's not a physical war. We're not going to kill anybody. But it's a spiritual war. And God wants to do something here in Buckeye. And I believe that He's going to use Refuge to do it. But it's going to take you guys to step up and be strong and courageous. To replace your fear of failure with enjoying expectation. So here's the thing. We have a fear of failure. So we don't attack God's dreams and God's promises to us. We don't go after them because we think we're going to fail. But what we have to do is we have to go after them and then begin enjoying the expectation. Because, see, when you really believe what God is going to do, then as you're doing it, yes, it's hard work, but you enjoy it because you expect something to happen. And I want to be a church that begins enjoying expectation instead of fearing failure. We have 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. And then, hopefully we'll be back. You know what? Barring some crazy unforeseen circumstances, I'm going to tell you, I expect to be back May 17th, I think it is. It's a Sunday after May 15th when Ducey tells us, Governor Ducey tells us that we can. So expect to come back that Sunday. But start praying now. Start seeking God now. We don't have 40 years in the wilderness. We have 2 weeks. God can do a lot in 2 weeks to someone's heart. God can change your heart. God can change your expectation. God can speak dreams into your mind. So start praying. Start seeking God. Start desiring that stuff. Start praying that God gives you that desire. Do it now. Start reading the Bible more than you've ever read it before. Begin an active worship. So, worship's not the same anymore. Without the drums and the guitar and all that here, all we have is Tira and Carrie and Josiah. But it's not about that. It's not about how great it sounds or how many instruments are up here or how loud it is. It's about your heart and what you're worshiping. And you're worshiping God. You can pick many, many, many weeks. I don't know how many weeks we've been online now. But you can go back. If you want, you can go back to before quarantine, when the boys were here. And just start playing the worship and listening to the songs. If you don't want to listen to us, start listening just YouTube worship songs. If you want older ones, you can find them. If you want newer ones, you can find them. If you want the 90s, you can find it. The 60s, you can find it. The 1800s, you can find it. Whatever you desire. But here's the thing. Open your heart. Start worshiping God. Now, in your house. It'll change you. It's what changed the Israelites from, we're just grasshoppers, so let's go take this. Like I said before, they had 40 years, and we have 2 weeks. But our God, He can do it in 2 days, 2 minutes. So start asking God to change you and start worshiping. It is a worshipful heart that will change you more than anything. Start worshiping. You don't need to be with a bunch of people clapping your hands and raising your hands. You can do it in your house. You can open your heart. You can worship God without raising your hands if you don't want. Worship God however you worship God. But start worshiping God. find some time. Find some time to give to Him, to dedicate to Him, where it's just you and Him with no distractions. I hope and I pray that this word gets to the right people and that it tugs at your heart. I don't have much more to say, but let's go ahead and close our eyes and we're going to pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, you are amazing. Lord, you are so great, and you fill our lives with dreams and expectations and goals, Lord. And so often we're scared. And so often we let other distractions block us from them, Lord. We can go in and start it, and we get fruit, and we're all happy, and it's so beautiful, and we see the milk and honey. But then we come back and we're scared, and we quit because something comes up or something changes. Lord, I pray, God, that you help us become the kind of people, Lord, who don't give up at those times, Lord, but who instead pursue even harder, Lord. People who are who believe that you've given them dreams, that you've given them visions, and that it is going to come to pass, Lord. Help us be people who say, what if I let God do what He wants to do? Lord, just be with us, Father God. Lord, tug at our hearts, Lord. Start speaking to our minds, Lord. Tell it, just, hey, remember Pastor Mike said this week. We should probably spend some time in worship. We should spend some time in prayer. Lord, I say that to my congregation, Lord, but tug it on me too, Lord. Help me find more time for you, Lord. Because it is time with you that changes us, Lord. And we all need changing. And Lord, I pray, God, for the wisdom of our leaders, Lord, as we go through this COVID. Father, I'm believing that May 17th we'll be back. But, it's really, truly up to them, Father. I pray, Lord, that you give them the wisdom, Lord, and Lord, you speak clearly to their minds about what to do, Lord. I pray, God, that we can get back soon, Father. We can worship together, and that when we do, we change this community. We change our lives, Lord. And we change this church. In Jesus' name, amen. And thanks, guys, for listening. Thanks for watching. See you next week, same time, same place. And hit us up on Zoom on Wednesday. If you don't know the code or the password, message me on Facebook. Give me a call. I can get it to you. Love you all. Can't wait to see you in a couple